In a small village surrounded by hills and forests, there lived a young artist named Leo. Leo loved painting more than anything else. His tiny studio was filled with vibrant and colorful paintings, but despite his hard work, no one ever bought them. Every day, Leo hoped for a change, but his dreams seemed out of reach. He often felt sad and lonely, as his paintings seemed to go unnoticed. One sunny afternoon, as Leo wandered through the village's quieter streets, he stumbled upon a small, old shop. The shop looked ancient, with cobwebs in the corners and dust on the shelves. Inside, there were many strange and fascinating things: old books, antique clocks, and unusual trinkets. But what caught Leo's eye was a shiny, glowing paintbrush resting on a high shelf. Its bristles sparkled with a soft, golden light, and the handle was intricately carved with beautiful designs. Leo was drawn to the paintbrush and walked up to the counter, where an old man with a long white beard sat quietly. "How much is this paintbrush?" Leo asked, pointing to the glowing brush. The old man looked at Leo with kind eyes and said, "This is no ordinary paintbrush. Whatever you paint with it will come to life. But remember, it is both a gift and a curse. Use it wisely." Leo was excited but also curious. He had spent all his money on this magical paintbrush and left the shop, eager to see if the old man's words were true. He hurried back to his studio, clutching the brush tightly. That night, under the soft light of the moon, Leo set up his canvas and dipped the paintbrush into his paints. He decided to paint a beautiful garden with bright flowers, butterflies, and a gentle stream. As he painted, he noticed something incredible. The flowers on the canvas started to move as if touched by a breeze. The butterflies fluttered their wings, and the stream sparkled just like real water. Leo's painting had come to life. He was amazed and thrilled, seeing his art become real before his eyes. Over the next few days, Leo's studio was filled with wonder. He painted more and more magical scenes: forests with tall, whispering trees, rivers with sparkling water, and playful animals. Every time he finished a painting, the creatures and scenes stepped out of the canvas and into his studio. His little studio was now a place of magic and beauty. Word quickly spread about Leo's incredible paintings. People from nearby villages and towns came to see the magic for themselves. They marveled at the living art and praised Leo's talent. As more people visited, Leo started to earn money. He was no longer a struggling artist. He was famous, and his art was loved by many. One day, Leo decided to create his greatest masterpiece yet. He wanted to paint a magnificent white horse, strong and graceful, with a flowing mane and bright eyes. He worked late into the night, carefully adding details to make the horse perfect. When he was finished, the horse stepped out of the painting. Leo named the horse Spirit. It was more beautiful than Leo had ever imagined. Spirit was full of energy and joy, and Leo enjoyed riding through the fields and forests on his new friend. But soon, things started to change. Leo noticed that the magical garden he had painted was no longer as beautiful as before. The flowers began to wilt, and the stream started to dry up. The animals became restless and began to act strangely. Even Spirit, who had once been gentle and calm, started to become wild and difficult to control. Leo felt worried and confused. He couldn't understand why his magical paintings were changing for the worse. The joy of creating life with his art was turning into something frightening. The magic paintbrush, which had once seemed like a blessing, now felt like a heavy burden. One stormy night, Spirit grew so wild that Leo had a hard time keeping control. The horse galloped around the studio, knocking over paints and brushes, and making a mess. Leo realized that the paintbrush's magic was out of control. He knew he had to do something before things got worse. Leo decided to paint one last picture, hoping to end the magic once and for all. He picked up the paintbrush and began to paint a dark, mysterious forest. The trees in the painting were tall and shadowy, and the forest seemed to go on forever. In the middle of the forest, Leo painted a huge, ancient tree with thick branches and deep roots. As Leo finished the painting, a strong wind blew through the studio. The magical creatures from his other paintings were drawn toward the canvas. The flowers, animals, and even Spirit were pulled into the dark forest on the painting. Leo watched as everything he had created was sucked into the canvas, disappearing into the shadows. When the wind finally stopped, the studio was silent and still. The paintbrush, which had once glowed with magic, now looked ordinary and dull. The enchantment was over. Leo felt a mix of sadness and relief. He had lost the magical creatures and the wonder they brought, but he also knew that the magic was too powerful and dangerous. Leo spent the next few days cleaning up his studio. Although it was quiet now, he felt a new sense of peace. He decided to return to painting simple things: beautiful landscapes, bright flowers, and the starry night sky. His art was no longer magical, but it was filled with sincerity and love. People still came to see Leo's paintings, and they appreciated the care and beauty in each piece. Leo kept the old paintbrush on a shelf as a reminder of his adventure. He understood that true art didn't need magic, it needed heart. Leo lived a peaceful life, painting for the joy it brought him. His paintings continued to bring happiness to others, and that made him very happy. The magic paintbrush was gone, but the lessons Leo learned stayed with him forever.